So yeah, I just wanted to reach out to you the other day when I was in Chicago. I was actually out there for a work trip, and that was my first time in Chicago, which was nice. My company put me up in a hotel downtown, so I got to walk around downtown, which was it was really beautiful. I had no idea Chicago was so big, and yeah, it was a nice little work trip, and I just had some free time, and I've been listening to a lot of speakers content and. I don't know. I just had kind of had the urge to reach out. I kind of always wanted to reach out to you to have a chat, just to kind of see what happens, I guess. But but yeah, no, there was a lot of I guess mean, if you want to say that, on the Chicago trip. I work for a corporation, so um, yeah, in the past for sure, there was always seemed to be a lot of needing to be seen a certain way, by my directors and my managers. So there was a lot of that. There was a very contracted sense of there's someone being here that needed to be seen a certain way, that needed to be liked, that needed to be promotable. Um, so yeah, there was a lot of like going back and thinking about what I said. What did they think about that? Like, Um, so it was just kind of strange. I'm like, why am I doing that?
Well, it's very natural to want to make a good impression on your bosses.
Yeah,
That's
just very
that's
believed. It was very believed.
yeah, yeah, it's convincing. But let me ask you a question. You know, all these feelings you're talking about, wanting to be liked, wondering what people will think of you, maybe, 100 other things. And who do they belong to?
I haven't been able to find anyone. Doesn't seem like it belongs to really anything or anyone.
Even
You
the
even know
Yeah,
that.
even the feeling of it's mine, right? Let's just take that one. This is
Yeah,
this is mine. Nobody nobody owns the feeling of it being mine. It's just a feeling coming up that could be described as a sense of being mine.
yeah.
Sometimes, Chris, there can be a feeling of a me there, but it doesn't mean anyone is doing it. It doesn't mean there's an actual separate me. It's just a feeling of a separate me.
Mhm.
It may feel super solid. I get it, right? It's convincing.
Yeah.
But even the super solid feeling of being separate isn't separate from this.
It does seem to be seen later on that it's just completely imaginary. Um, it was never really real, but it doesn't seem to prevent it from returning and being believed in again.
Well, that's what's a little different. I'm not saying anything's illusory here. Like I know there's a lot of spiritual teachings that say, no, there's just the reality and, this is all an illusion. No, that's not what's being shared here, Chris. What's being shared here is that all is this already. Whatever, however.
Yeah. Hmm.
So like right now, there's just thinking happening there, right? There's not an actual Chris in that body who's thinking, right? There's not a little Chris inside there. There's just thinking.
Yeah. Lots of thoughts of still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. But let me ask you a question. What's wrong with that? Something trying to figure this out. Thoughts, excuse me. Thoughts trying to figure this out. Okay. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I guess it is understandable why it would be that way.
Of course. Yeah. And so would be the resistance, right? Oh, I don't want
Sure, yeah.
to be having trying to figure everything out yeah, that's it too.
It's really, I don't know, I guess it's strange not having a compass, not having direction, not knowing what's going to happen, where this is going. Um, not having a future that's believed in. Um, that gave such a sense of security. It feels, this belief that there was somewhere that this was going. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, and it can be disconcerting at first, no doubt, you kind of thought everything was up to me, and now you're hearing, well, there actually isn't a me.
Hmm.
So naturally there could arise, well, then who's it up to? Right? If it's not up to me, then, how do I make sure everything comes out okay? Right? I mean, that's really, if we get down to it, there's just wanting to know
Yeah.
it's going to be okay. That's,
I mean, there is I mean, it is a little concerning. I think the story here is that if there's no concern or if there's no thinking, or there's a concern for consequences. And just watching this character play out, because I know that this character can overreact. He can say things that might be hurtful to others. Um, and there's a wanting to kind of control that, to contain that, to create a future Chris here that is not going to get himself in trouble, you know,
yeah,
with his boss or tell someone to fuck off, you know,
yeah, yeah.
because that could definitely happen.
Well, yeah, anything can happen,
Yeah,
there's nobody already doing it. That's the funny thing. So it wasn't like you actually ever had control.
yeah. But it seemed like there was someone here that could at least contain, and say, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. you know, when something arose and there was this urge to say, shout at someone out of anger, there was another voice that came in and said, maybe you shouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah, yeah, that's quite normal, right? As human beings, so to say, we're all biting our tongues, maybe. We're not really saying how we really feel because, oh, I need that person. He's my boss. I can't tell him to fuck off.
Yeah. And it's for whatever reason, it feels like I never had, well, I mean, I didn't have that trait. Right? I wasn't really skilled at that. I wasn't really skilled at, at stopping before I said something, or thinking about it before something was said or
Mm,
something was done. Uh,
mm.
you know, and that could have been a financial decision even, or, um, you know, so it's a decision of what I say to my child. You know, that's, you know, there might have been a very sensitive situation with my child or with my lover or whatever, and something was said out of it that was very insensitive. Just because there just was never that skill developed here, I guess. I mean,
Well, I mean, now that you're, quote, aware of it, and it looks like there's a desire there not to fly off the handle, right? To be a little more,
yeah.
but
Well, yeah, there is a desire to seek just regular advice, you know, that's outside of non-duality, outside of, you know, non-dual speakers or concepts, just regular advice, you know, from someone who um
well, there's nothing wrong with, I mean, regular advice. You mean like going to a therapist or something like that?
yeah, just to recondition
Yeah,
the way that this
yeah,
character behaves.
yeah, yeah. If there's a feeling there, a lot of people go to therapists, and this met the way I, sort of talk about this is it's all this already. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to a therapist and working on personality habits, you know, that you don't like. Perfectly normal. Oh yeah, I lose my temper sometimes, and I see it's not helpful.
Yeah,
So I want to curb that. Well, people do that, I mean, I've never been to an anger management, but I assume some people get benefit, maybe others don't. But to me, it's just like learning to play tennis or doing yoga. It's just a skill for the body. So even meditation, if you're stressed out, sitting down and counting your breaths, can calm you. Great. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing right with that either. See, that's the thing. There's no wrong or right here, Chris. And oftentimes we think, oh, I want to do it in the right way. But
yeah,
it's not you actually doing it anyway. So what's going to happen is going to happen. And it's always been like that. So this is nothing new. This feeling that you were once in control is just that. It was just a feeling. If a meteor was going to fall on your head, there's nothing you can do about it. A meteor just falls on the head, you know. So the idea that, you had some kind of control in a way is suffering because this is not controllable. And yet control can seem to appear. Oh, I'll get up and lock the front door at night before I go to sleep. Yeah.
I don't know, there just seems to be a conflict here between that. I mean, like I said, there is you know, sort of a desire to just, you know, seek out regular counseling to recondition the way this character behaved, to sort out maybe some past trauma, things of that nature. Um, but at the same time, there's just this thought that why does that matter? You know, or that sense feeling of why does that matter? Um,
Well, it matters because you feel like you need to do something about it. That's that's why it matters. It matters because you feel like I need to take care of this, right? Why do you go to the bathroom? you know,
Mhm.
you go because you got to go to the toilet. So again, I don't see it as spiritual. Like to me, there's not non-dual stuff and then not non-dual stuff. There's just
Yeah, yeah,
life.
yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Definitely sometimes think I want this to be non-dual again, or this I want it to just be something, um, something conceptual that can be understood.
Well, what is it you're trying to understand?
Life, I don't know. I guess like just um, there's nothing that seems to really understand. This is just this. It seems to be happening. That's all there really is. Nothing really to understand about it. Just what's happening. Um, and for whatever reason, this still wants to find purpose and meaning, and but that too is just what's happening.
Well, yeah, I was going to say what's wrong with purpose and meaning. There's no
Yeah, I
there's
mean
no
it's
issue with the see there's the it's so funny in the spiritual field this just seems like there's a right way and a wrong way for everything. You know,
I
there's
know, right? Yeah.
if I'm not
There-
right, if I'm not in acceptance, then I'm resisting and that's wrong. Well, the funny thing is, Chris, resisting just happens. Nobody's doing the resisting. So
Hmm,
there's nobody over there trying to figure this out. There's just a thought maybe that's trying to figure it out. But even the
yeah.
thought isn't being done by anyone. It's just a thought and it will come and it will go and then another thought will come.
Silly thoughts. So, I mean, in your past, in the experience, experience of this, I mean, did this generally just continue to fade until there was just really no sense of anyone here at all, and it never came up?
Well, as I talked about at the meeting, when you mentioned confusion, there was confusion there. And I told you I related because I remember going through life being very confused.
I've been starting to, I mean, like a lot of other different types of speakers have been kind of coming up in my YouTube feed, and they've been adding a little bit to the confusion. Um, like who's one of them? Think of his name, but I guess he used to be considered a non-dual speaker for many years, and um, now all he does is kind of preach of the dangers of non-duality. Uh,
You're talking about Scott Killaby?
Jeff Foster,
Oh, Jeff Foster. Yeah, those are the two guys. Those were actually the first two non-dual books I ever bought.
yeah, I remember reading Jeff Foster 5 or 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and it really resonated then.
Yeah, yeah. I've actually hosted Jeff back in the day. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy. But yeah, I mean, it just seems, yeah,
So
and
you
I
were,
don't know.
yeah, you were saying you're getting a little confused.
Yeah, and I don't know if that maybe is a good thing. This is being challenged, something's being challenged here, or what, but um, a certain belief or something. Uh, but I don't know specifically what it is that was confusing me, but doesn't really feel like it's worth talking about, honestly.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, because there's only now. So what's confusing you right now?
yeah, right. Nothing. Um, yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to. I remember when I was talking with Sandra last time, there was this sense of just wanting to feel as though that, or to rid this idea, or that still seemed to appear here, that there was a teacher there that knew something, and that there was a student here that wanted what, something that he had. And I mean, it was very, very faint, but it was still there. It was still obvious that it was still there, and it was, yeah. And I could see that how it was causing such a disconnect somehow. I think there was a lot of concern, maybe fear of how Sandra might see me, or like, which is funny, like, why would that matter? Now that I think about it. But it did matter at the moment, it seemed. And maybe it seems, maybe that's fading more and more, but it doesn't seem like it's fully believed in anymore, really. Uh, Here, maybe with you, but
Yeah. Yeah, it happens a lot, very innocently. I see it here also with Nkosi, you know.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's hard not to put Nkosi on a pedestal when you first meet him, because my God, the
Yeah, yeah,
guy's just, so loving. And so yeah, that just arises innocently. But there really isn't anybody separate to be better than you or worse than you. There are different traits, like
yeah,
Nkosi has, there's no denying. He has a charisma, he's got a great voice. The way he speaks is totally unique. So yeah,
yeah,
you're never going to be Nkosi. I'm never going to be Nkosi, right? You're not going to be Sander. I'm not going to be Sander, but you're Chris. You are Chris. I'm Michael. And I want to say it's all the same, yet different, yet unique at the same time. And that can't be, rectified. How do you explain something that's completely unique and yet the same simultaneously?
yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't see anything wrong with, having an appreciation for certain qualities and traits in others. Um, yeah, I was gonna say. Hmm.
So what's missing right now? What's missing for you?
What feels as though it's missing?
Mhm.
Well, the question doesn't seem to make sense. So there can't be anything that's really missing.
Well, don't go to a concept. Like right here, just look, like to feel what, what is this moment?
Okay. Mm, I guess just feeling happy.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So all is this, Michael and Sander and Nkosi. I get it, but I'm just not happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. So let's sit with that. That feels, that feels honest to me. So, like I said, I see a lot of me, so to say, in you, because depression ran in my family and confusion was my constant companion most of my life. So the two together, being confused and depressed, it can be a pretty wild ride.
Oh yeah. Sure.
But somehow, Chris, hearing that someone else went through it, the same thing, you know what I mean? Knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah, that seemed to help a lot here, especially when I met Suzanne Chang.
Have you met with her?
Yeah, she was the first one I heard kind of speak about this message. Came across her on YouTube, and then I just reached out to her. Sorry, turn my phone off here. Um, yeah, I reached out to her, and then I spent like a year going to her meetings and doing one-on-ones with her. And then I went to her retreat, her first retreat. Um, so yeah, she became very special. And she definitely expressed, she's very forthcoming about her story and how difficult it was for her to come to this.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm sharing.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
it's more normal than you think, Chris.
Oh
It
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very disorienting and alone. You just feel like an odd duck. It's like God. I remember for me that was it. Like I didn't before I met Nkosi and Sander, I didn't think there was anybody that kind of saw it the way I did.
Mm. Yeah, I think that kind of what I was when I saw Sander and Rosa's first video on YouTube. I was drawn to both of them, but I mean Sander for just because he was just obviously very clear there, and then Rosa, it was just so full of joy, and just booming aliveness, and I wanted that.
Completely
Like, man,
understandable, right?
I
Yeah.
want to boom and just be just like just
Beautiful, Chris.
as Rosa, man. She's just amazing.
Dang
She's
it.
so alive and um
Yeah, beautiful. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, what you really, this is going to sound fun. I'm going to tell you what you really want. Imagine that. But you don't really want to be Rosa or Sander or Susan Chang or anyone. What you want to be is what you really are. That's what you want. So you can let Chris express without all the baggage and the second guessing and the doubt.
yes. Yeah.
You know, imagine, Chris, like an apple tree wanting to be, you know, a pear tree. Well, you're an apple tree. You're not going to be a pear tree. So, you know what I mean? It's like, let's see what's going, because there's so much there that you don't know about when you're like shut down. But as soon as that creativity, it's almost like, you know, blowing out the instrument. You know, the instrument's clogged up with debris. You can't really
Mhm.
play it very well. But as soon as you, well, get clear, right? It's clear. Then suddenly you can be Chris and get to know him, maybe for the first time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think for my whole life there was just this not wanting to accept Chris for who he was, for yeah, and there were people, there was always someone there to that seemed to uh support that idea that Chris was, there was something wrong with him, that he wasn't normal, that he doesn't belong here. Um yeah, there, yeah, a lot of people have been awful just because they didn't understand me. And so I think I've been awful to myself too. Um, yeah, and there is just a wanting to be free. You know, this whatever this is, this Chris that seems to be here. He
Yeah,
wants
Chris, it happens. I'm telling you, you can change. The body is amazing, you know, just by, you know, somebody who's always late can suddenly start to learn to be on time, so to say. Let's say, you know,
mm,
they can begin enjoying getting there a few minutes early rather than the adrenaline rush of running
yeah.
home the last second. So change happens. It's still not anybody doing it, but change does happen. Yeah.
I think that there's just a fear that, and fear that this body's still going to react to others who support this idea that Chris should be something other than what he already is. Um, yeah.
Well, we don't know what you are. You know, that's the thing. You don't even know what Chris is. Because, like, when you're shut down and you're depressed a lot, you don't really stretch. You know, it was kind of a protective shell.
Yeah.
Very, and it's very
Well,
sensitive. Go ahead.
I guess I just mean this Chris that is that feels safe to be free to express whatever he wants, and um,
Right. So the Chris, you know, that's concerned, right, about looking good, right? That the first thing I would say is the acceptance that is completely normal. There's nothing wrong with that, Chris, of wanting to appear good in others' eyes. Everybody does it.
yeah.
So it's not special. See, the thing is when we think we're special, that's separation.
Hmm. For sure.
It's not really separation, but in a way, it separates you from others because I'm different than others. That was the big joke. The Michael that thought was so special, it turned out was never even there. I could never find that guy, that Michael guy.
Yeah. I mean, does this really even do anything? I mean, is there really any, um, I mean, I guess there is, but I don't know, I mean, my question is is there really any value in expressing these things and
You talk about,
talking about these things with other, non-dual speakers and
well, there can seem to be value until there isn't, until it doesn't seem like there's value. So
yeah.
you may go see a bunch of teachers and meet with them, and then you may get burnt out and say, ah,
Hmm.
yeah, trying to figure out, Chris, no matter how many speakers tell you there's nothing to figure out, right? As you can see, it doesn't make a dent. There can still be trying to figure this out and till there isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems that there just has to be like an exhausting of figuring it out before.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what happened. Yeah. Well, I talk about that, try everything
Yeah,
until like here, as I've talked about, nothing worked.
yeah.
But it wasn't that I didn't try. I
Well,
tried everything.
there's nothing. There's nowhere to get. Trying to get somewhere there where there's no destination.
No, there's just this. There's just what's happening. That's all there ever is. And there's no getting to this, right? You see the problem.
Yeah.
What's really going on, Chris, right? We got to keep it real. I think intellectually, so to say, or whatever, that there's just this. But what happens is then comes in the added, oh, but I don't like this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of my interest. Like
Oh yeah.
that's really where, so to say, because there's only ever this. So the
Right.
question is, what is it? There's
Yeah.
something.
Most of the time, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. Most of the time, is intellectually, it is that. Yeah, that there is an intellectual knowing, but that is solidified from memory of it being apparent. That was it seemed to be very much beyond intellectually knowing.
Yeah,
Um, but then you're right. Then whatever remains here seems to not like it or has an opinion about it or an idea about it. Um, and then it's no longer just this, it's
right. So
the me trying to figure it out.
let's give it a, I'm just curious, would you call that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you tell me, would you call that, how do you feel most of the time? Is it anger? Is it confusion? Is it both?
I mean, um, just a very slight discontent with life. I mean, just like a very small discontent that this can't just be all there is. This can't be it. I missed something.
Right.
I overlooked something. I passed something.
Yeah.
Um, there was an apparent scene, and then there wasn't. Um, yeah, I mean, there was always a wanting for this to be something other than what it already is. Always, and
Yeah.
it's so solidified.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
No, I do.
takes time for it to go away. Like, It's so strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean, Chris. It's like a rejection of this moment for no reason.
Yes. Yeah. But I guess it makes it that much more beautiful once it's fully realized.
Well, I'm not going to say it was fully realized. What I could say, though, is that somehow the rejection was seen as this too. So suddenly the rejection sounds funny, but even the rejection was
Hmm.
like there was the resistance to the rejection began to mellow out. Like, okay, yeah, this moment doesn't feel sufficient. Okay. And there was no longer trying to change it, like to fix it, like it was broke, like it shouldn't be that way. I'm like, okay, right now I'm not feeling so good.
And it just always seems like I'm just dipping my toes into this, and every once in a while I get pushed into the water and then I'm like, nope, I don't like this. It's too cold or it's too ordinary. It's too
Yeah, well, it's only ever this. So with this can be wanting to escape this. That's actually part of, what's going on is
yeah,
here.
what's yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But I'm telling you, Chris, the suffering is thinking that that shouldn't be happening.
Oh yeah,
Trying to
yeah, sure.
stop the resistance or trying to
Oh
stop
yeah. Well, I mean it sucks. Why would that why would yeah,
that.
suffering sucks.
It does suck.
Why should that be happening?
Exactly. But I'm saying, and then the resistance is it too. So there could be this feeling of, well, now I don't like resisting,
Yeah, yeah.
resisting, and you get caught.
And yeah, the resistance, I don't even know what it is anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's being looked for a lot here. Like what is actually resisting? What is this resistance?
Well, what is anything, right? What is anything?
Why is there a need to resist? Why not just allow this to character to just be what it is?
Right.
I mean, that's freedom. That's what's longed for here.
Um, Another thing, do you tend to go into like memories a lot or fantasize?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean I had yeah, there was a lot lost over the past few years that was very loved.
Yeah. So that's another way that this can try and escape the moment is by going back to happier
Mm.
times.
Yes,
Very,
yeah.
very, very natural, Chris.
Yeah, there was definitely, it seemed to be much happier times where I was very active. I was out in nature a lot, really taking in the beauty of nature, doing all kinds of crazy things like rock climbing and going on adventurous hikes. And I did a lot. It was something that I did uh, to become something, to be seen as someone who was adventurous. Um, Yeah, I mean, the other day I felt the urge to go rock climbing again in the gym, and I'd rock climbed for like 7 or 8 years, and I always thought I liked it. I always thought I loved it. And I went and I'm like, I hate this. Am I really being honest with
That's
myself?
hilarious. I
I
love it.
fucking,
I
I
love it,
spent
Chris.
9 years rock climbing and I was so convinced that I loved it, but I never fucking
Oh, that's
did.
funny.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, listen, Chris, you hear Sander and I both talk about this can shift like the wind, right? You know about Sanders' Indian porridge,
the what?
his Indian porridge that he ate every morning for 3 years.
No.
Oh yeah, Sanders told a story where he loved this Indian porridge. So he'd have it, not only did he have it for breakfast, but if he went somewhere, he would bring some with. So he would make sure to have it for breakfast. That's how much he loved it. And then
Yeah.
he ran out of it and they stopped selling it in Sweden. So he wrote a letter to the company in India, says, I love your porridge. It's the best. Can you tell me
No way.
where I can get it in Sweden? Because we ran out. And they said, oh, we got you. And so they sent him a year's supply.
No way.
They sent him a year's supply of Indian porridge. After a week and a half, he was sick of it and never ate it again.
No. Why did he become sick of it?
That's what I'm saying, Chris. It can just turn on a dime.
That's terrible. Oh, yeah. I mean, I mean, looking back on it though, I don't know if I ever really did, Michael. I mean, I don't know if I really like it because I
You
was
probably
doing it
did.
for
You probably did when you first got into it, or
maybe
you,
when I first got into it, yeah. But
yeah,
I think what a lot of, I think a large portion of it, well, I don't, I think I did enjoy just doing it every once in a while, but I always felt like I had to do it all the time and get better at it. I didn't enjoy a lot of parts of it, like the competitive nature part of it,
right.
or the need to get to the top, or push myself to past my, what was really desired here, just to, sometimes I just wanted to give up and go back down. But there's just this strong urge to, oh no, you're going to be a loser if you don't get to the top, or you're going to be, someday people are going to see you as a failure. And there were times where I was just downright terrified, and I had to push myself past through this fear, as I was climbing, because I didn't want my belay partner to think that I was a coward, or something. Yeah, I hated that part of it. But yeah, I mean, I guess there were a lot of things about it that I loved too.
Well, but like I said, it can just for it doesn't need a reason. Like your interest in rock climbing can be there one day and that's just like Sanders porridge. You know,
Yeah.
one day he can't leave the house without it. He loves it, can't get enough, even right to the extent of writing the company. And then, a week, and, obviously he didn't plan that because now he's
Mm.
got a closet full of porridge, so it's the same, Chris. Everything just comes and goes freely on its own already. You're not doing it.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot has always come and went here. Seemingly done a lot of stuff, different things in my life.
Well, I'm saying everything comes and goes. The weather, the,
Yeah.
people, feelings, moods, being hungry, sleeping, all of it just comes.
Mm.
And even saying it comes, you don't even get the experience that it's coming from somewhere. It's just here, just boom. Here we are on, you know, talking to each other on Zoom. It, this is just what's happening. Just you and I having a conversation. This is it, Chris. There's nothing else happening here. Just two dudes chopping it up on Zoom.
I think there is a wanting to just kind of get back to being active again. Because for the past 2 years, I mean, I went from being so active almost every day to doing nothing at all.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it's kind of been that way for 2 years, really.
Well,
And
I get it. I mean, you didn't do it on purpose.
yeah,
Nobody, right? You didn't say, okay, for the next 2 years, I'm just gonna, no. But
yeah, there's
again, Chris, it's both, right? So it's the Zoom meeting between us, and it's also a complete mystery. So that's it is and it isn't. There's nothing here that you can hold on to. So all those memories of those like happy times, those are just appearing now as memories. And this was done here too. Like I used to think back when I was with my, first girlfriend in love, right? That innocent kind of love when you got your first kiss.
yeah,
It seems so pure. But the thing is, that was always just now. Like kissing her was now. It's always now. And then there seems to be like a memory of it, right? And it seems like, but it's always now, even if you're thinking about something or, a memory, it's still now. And so after a while, it's just like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I thinking about what's not happening when this is what is? This is what's going
yeah.
on right here.
When you're first kind of confronted with this realization that this is all there is, that it was always just this, there was never really anyone here. Once that's kind of sort of confronted, it's I mean, here it's just rejected. That's like the first thing that comes up. Like I no, this was I was not after this. I was after enlightenment. I was after that feeling of that first kiss always, that bliss, that eternal bliss and happiness, and that's what I was after.
Yeah,
I think I'll go back to just falling in love again. Fuck this.
try it.
You
No,
know.
I love it. No, Chris, I love the honesty. Try it. Don't believe this. Poke holes in it. Ah, Michael, you're full of shit. Let me hang out in my memories. Go for it. I tried. Here, I'm just sharing, Chris. I couldn't do it
But the
anymore.
rejection too is just what's happening. It's just this, and
Yeah, the feeling of this not being enough right now, Chris, that's part of this right here. That's I almost want to say just, acknowledge that. Go, yeah, there's something right here. I'm just not down with the moment. Like call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? Rather than conceptualize it or say, well, I know it's all this, but no. Right now, my feeling is it is not all this.
it doesn't feel right, but I can't find anything wrong with it.
What, that all is this?
Yeah,
Yeah, but clearly there's something there,
can't poke a hole in it.
right? But let's be with all of it. What I'm saying is there's space here to be with everything. So we can allow that feeling of this
Yeah.
isn't it to be here.
Well, I want you to be full of shit. I want to say Michael is full of shit. He
Yes,
doesn't know what he's talking about.
yes, you can say it. I don't. I really don't. That's the thing. Yeah. If someone says they know this, I don't know.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there's just nothing separate, Chris. Really, this whole
Yeah,
thing,
you're right. You're right.
yeah, that's just what it boils down to.
It
I'm
is,
just trying
yeah.
to bottom line it for you.
It's that simple, really.
But that I get that that cannot be satisfying, Chris. Don't discount the fact that it's not, you know what I mean? It's not vibing. If it's not vibing, that's what's coming up there. That's completely legitimate. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would say don't downplay your unease. You know, yeah, there's something here that fucking is pissed, and I'm not having the bliss that encodes, okay, now we're getting somewhere because now we're getting to the honesty.
Yeah. Yeah. I do see the freedom there, but it's just not what was thought to be the case. Yes.
Well, as you know, because you've been around the non-dual circles, no thought can contain this. No thought can tell you what this is.
Yeah. No, that's clear. For sure.
You know, it would be trying to figure out a jigsaw puzzle, right? The picture on let's say you have 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, right? And it would be like having a thought is like one piece of 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, trying to explain the whole puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to guess what the whole puzzle displays just by looking at one piece puzzle. I always thought there was someone here that knew something that had something.
Hmm. Yeah. It's really common, Chris. I hear it a
Oh
lot. Like
yeah.
here was not. I maybe I'm more odd because here was sort of say a joy about the me. Let's say we'll just say it doesn't really dissolve, but let's just call it dissolve first, just
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
But
yeah.
but your story is way more common. I have to tell you. I hear more people, I think Rosa and a lot of people talk about this did or Tim Kliss, right? Tim talks about not wanting Tim didn't want to go quietly. It thought it wanted this until it meant, it
Yeah.
was, and then it didn't like it. So I think you're in the majority. Most people, the me goes kicking and screaming, so to say.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. This is a child here kicking and screaming for sure. Fucking kid. Uh. Yeah. Like you said, it's okay that this is happening. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just gotta kind of work its course, I guess. I don't know. Run its course. It's like a fever. It's just gotta run its course. uh, I don't know.
Well, the funny thing is, because the thing with that though is there can be like a waiting until it falls away.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's kind of not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's just what's happening. And
right.
that can change moment to moment. Like you could be, right, mean, so to say, mean could be very intense. And then, right, we talk about being, where there's no mean, right? There's what's called clarity. People will talk
Yeah,
about it. And what I'm seeing, Chris, is that meaning and being, that clarity and just simply comes and goes on its own. So it's
Mhm.
completely natural to be confused and
Yeah.
1 minute and then like a few minutes later going, oh, it's okay.
Well, I think when I'm talking with speakers a lot, I'm trying to figure out where I fall in this parent path, this, this progress, where am I? Tell me, Michael, where is Chris right now in this path to whatever this is,
Yeah.
there's just that's where the confusion is. Like I'm trying to figure out where how close am I,
Yeah. But you already know the answer. If you go to a non-dual teacher, so to say, you already know you're not going to get,
Yeah,
you already know what they're going to say. They're going to say,
I
well,
know, but yeah, this can't be helped. It can't be helped though.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
just
Beautiful.
it's just instantly wanting to.
Yes. Beautiful. That's it, Chris. It's just innocently dying to figure this out, and that can go on. But somehow talking to others, right, like myself, who have been through it, who go, yeah, you're right on schedule. Like I know for you, it probably feels crazy and like I don't want, but I'm saying it's kind of normal.
Yeah, I mean, it just there's just such a longing for this to be consistently apparent.
Right. So I like that because I used to talk about hair on fire. I go, I don't really meet very many people who are like me, right? Who had their hair on fire, but you're one of them. Like the fact that, you're talking to lots of speakers and you're really wanting to get, that's like, to me, it's not a joke to you. Like this is not take it or leave it. Like you know, I like that you have a sense of urgency about you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You want this handled, it's clear. It's beautiful.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
So yeah, try everything, see if you can get your answers answered, but I'm just telling you here eventually was a giving up. I just couldn't get an answer for that would satisfy, maybe temporarily, but eventually all answers went out the window.
Hmm.
All right, you have any last comments or questions before we close out?
No, I think I'm good. Thanks for meeting with me.
Yeah, Chris, it was my pleasure. You're not alone, buddy. Been there, done that. It can be a bit like being in a washing machine for a while.
Yeah.
But one day, Chris, you may look back and, not when you're waiting for it to happen, but all of a sudden you kind of look back and, oh, I haven't really thought too much about,
Hmm.
my obsession the last few days. Like
Yeah.
that's how it was here. It was
Yeah.
like seeing that nothing worked, try everything, try it. And then once you're convinced, like I said at the meeting on Wednesday night, you don't have to ride every ride in the carnival. If the carnival is rigged, you can go, oh, I get it. So that's what kind of happened here, so to say. Obviously you can't try everything, but you can try enough things where you realize they don't work. And eventually you can go, well, nothing's going to work then, right? And that can sound bleak, right? To the me. Well, that doesn't sound very upbeat, but suddenly there can be a relaxation, Chris, and that's all you've ever wanted. You actually don't really care about what's happening right now. You just want to be relaxed. If you're chill,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hmm.
all right, up to you.
Yeah,
Post or
it's
no
fine.
post. It's
Yeah,
up.
it's fine if you can post it if you want.
Okay.
I think a lot of good stuff came up today.
Beautiful. Good, Chris. Well, I'm always here for you. So if you want to reach out again, let me know, brother. But
Yeah.
I just want you to know you're not alone.
Yeah, no, thank you again. Appreciate your time.
You got it. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.